Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Sandman. Today I'm going to be reviewing 3D Locksport's educational lock-in pins. Let's get into it. So I had purchased this particular educational lock-in pins trainer or educational device a couple years ago, and I just kind of was dismissive. I just bought it as a collector, and then he came out with a Halloween edition this year, and I started collecting all the 3D Locksport stuff that you guys have seen in my unboxings and on my channel. And I'm probably going to start doing a whole bunch of reviews for the month of December leading up to Christmas, and just getting people excited about this because I love it. And I think these make the perfect Christmas gift for yourself and for a friend, because nothing says I love you like a custom 3D Locksport pinning tray that has your friend's name on it or your own name on it. So anyways, but I wanted to talk about these guys. First, let's talk about the very first one I bought several years ago. I don't know of anybody else making stuff like this on the market. I have something similar. We will talk about it when we get there. But essentially, what this is for is I'm going to use this to be able to teach or demonstrate, or maybe I want to learn for myself exactly how pin tumbler locks work. So essentially you have a plug, you have a keyway, you have a plug, you have key pins, you have driver pins, you have driver springs, and then you have the lock body itself. And it has these little nubs here so I can actually pull and push on this thing to rotate it. So when we actually pick a lock, we're going to take a lock pick and we're going to lift on the pins one at a time. The biggest misconception in lock picking among new lock pickers is that they think that you have to lift all the pin stacks up to the very top in order to be able to pick the lock. And there is a method that uses that. We're not going to talk about that in this video. That's called cone picking, but most locks are really not going to let you do that. They're designed to not let you do that. This driver pin is going to keep you from overlifting. So what we are doing is we use two tools. We use a turning tool and we use a lifter pick, and we're going to place our turning tool here at the bottom of the keyway or at the top of the keyway, and we're going to apply rotational force. And then we are going to use our lock pick and we're going to slowly lift up until we find the shear line, which is the break point between the key pin and the driver pin, and we will get a rotation in the plug. If we do that with all of the pins, then the plug will rotate freely. What will happen is, until we do that, and that spring is super strong, ideally what we do is we want to set the pins. So this is what a set pin looks like. The key pin is loose. The driver pin now has tension on it as it's sitting just above that shear line, just above the pinhole. And we want all of the pins to set like that. Once all the pins are set, I can now rotate this guy all the way around. What's cool about this is the reason why we don't want to pick locks that are in use. So the reason why you don't want to go pick the lock to your front door and you don't want to pick your buddy's lock is because sometimes when we go to actuate the tailpiece and the locking mechanism, so the bolt or the latch or what have you, depending on the mechanism that you're trying to unlock, sometimes when we rotate this plug 180 degrees, we get this happening. What happens is the driver pins will actually drop into the bottom of the keyway, and it will make this lock completely unfunctional. Now, you can recover from this. You have to go through and you have to pick it again, and you have to rotate that plug. But sometimes it's just easier said than done. I have probably 3 locks that I have bricked. That's called bricking or dumping your driver pins. So sometimes you dump a driver pin, and I've done that several times. So this is a really neat way of being able to describe all that without having to use animations or anything else like that. Now you could be asking, well, who is this for? Well, it could be for you, because if I were to take out just this top pin here, let's see, I have never taken this thing apart because I just use the standard driver pins to be able to demonstrate this guy. Let me make sure I'm doing this correctly. I don't want to break anything. I don't want to force anything. Okay, there we go. I know what I need to do. So I need to, there we go. I need to slide this up, and this comes out. Okay, be smarter than the toy. I'm gonna remove this, and now, oh yeah, look at that. I can now show these spool pins. Ooh, this is cool. All right, so I'm putting that guy in, and this guy goes back in here. There we go. I'm gonna drop this in. Okay, that was a lot easier. Once I had figured it out that you have to push the driver pin up before you remove this, it started to make sense. So here we have a spool pin, and this is like the intro into security pins. You know, the start is just a regular driver pin, then the next is going to be a spool pin. Spool pins give you weird feedback like this, you'll be able to start to rotate the plug and you will think that you have that pin set, but it's not. Also, you cannot set that pin unless you provide a little bit of counter rotation, then the clockwise rotation, and then you find that shear line. So that's something you have to learn in lockpicking. People don't realize. Alternatively, if I were to remove this guy again, remove this, and then I put in my serrated pin, which is the next step up in security, and now we can see what this does. As I'm picking this lock, this will give me false feedback and make me think that I'm actually at the shear line, but I'm not. It's just to fool me. See, like this will actually, see, oh wow, this is great. So my key pin is loose and it feels as though the top pin, the driver pin is set, but it's not. And I have to get it above one of these serrations and I'll hear it click and I'll hear it click. And guess what? It's still not set. I have to get it all the way to where the key pin meets the shear line and the driver pin is above the shear line. That's how tricky some of these security pins are. So this is a really great trainer. This is really great for explaining things. You know, we have T-pins in here. We have all kinds of stuff in here. You can play this thing. Oh, yeah, let's try this. All right, so these are master wafers. Master wafers will go above, or just, yeah, they'll go below a driver pin, but we're gonna put in a shorter driver pin for that master wafer there because that's what they're for. So let's switch these out here. All right. So we have a short driver pin, we have a master wafer, and let's go with, we'll just do one master wafer. And then we'll go with a, this guy right here is for comb picking, showing overlift picking, which we're not gonna do, but, oh, drop the master pin there. All right, oh, dropped it again. Okay, everything's set. So this is a master pin. If you live in an apartment complex, heck, even if you live in a new development or a new home, chances are your lock has these little master wafers or these master pins or master driver pins, however you want to call them. But it's a wafer and they're very thin and they go between the key pin and the driver pin. What this does is somebody will have a master key to the entire complex or the entire neighborhood. Now your key will operate on the shear line that is between the driver pin and, let's say, the master wafer. It just depends, where it could be between the key pin and the master wafer. But then another key will operate between the other shear line. There's two shear lines here. So as I lift this key pin and I go to rotate that, this is one key. So if I put in a different key and I lift this pin up a little bit higher, then that's another key. So two keys will have access to the same lock, but only one key has access to this one lock. The other key, the master key, will have access to multiple locks because they all have master wafers. So that's a really neat way to describe that, I think. I hope you guys got that. And moving forward, so this guy actually retails for only $25. I don't think of any better way to spend $25 than buying something like this. Alternatively, in the past, I have this rarity right here, and these are super rare. These were really popular around 2012, 2014 timeframe. Maybe they stopped making these, the guy stopped making these maybe around 2016. Man, I don't know, it was over 10 years ago. And this is cool. This is all acrylic, and it has the driver pin, the key pin, the plug, the shell, okay? And you flip it over, and the obverse, or the reverse, I have a different color scheme, and now I have a spool pin. So I can show how this spool pin works using the same concept right here, and I have to use counter rotation to find the shear line, and this guy twists like that. This is super cool. This was $80. I paid $80 for it. I waited several weeks for it to arrive. These were like cut out on a machine, but supposedly they're all made by hand. I have gone to several manufacturers asking them, like, hey, do you want to make this or whatever? Nobody wants to make this. I really wish I could sell something like this on my website, but nobody thinks it's a good idea. I think it's an amazing idea. But if you can't have this, you get the next best thing, and that is going to be this 3D Locksport trainer for a fraction of the cost. We're talking, 20% of the cost, or whatever, 25% of the cost. So here we have the Halloween edition, and apparently I've never opened this. I thought I did. The Halloween edition, okay, it's the same thing as this, but The only difference is this guy glows in the dark. Let me see if I can supercharge this thing up against the light real quick. I don't know if that light is going to be bright enough to charge it, but yep. So this thing glows in the dark. It's not super evident at this point because I'm not using a super bright flashlight. But we can, yep. Oh, hey, I got a flashlight right behind me. Let me see if I can get this thing to light up. Okay, here. Oh, that's super bright. It's like blinding me. Cool, look at that. So this thing glows in the dark. I do a lot of Locksport meetups, and we actually meet in bars, which is kind of weird. I've tried doing a Locksport meetup at a Golden Corral. Let me tell you something, that was weird as heck. Taking this hobby into a family environment, you're gonna get the weirdest looks. You take it into a bar and all of a sudden people don't care, but I don't drink. So, hey, I tried 10 points for trying to take it into a family restaurant, restaurant and just have all you can eat. Didn't work, but I do go into bars a lot and like cafes where I do the Locksport meetups, and this is great in a low light environment. I think it's cool, and I think it totally mixes well with the Halloween theme. I love the green, I love the orange. It's just something I wanted for my collection. And supposedly Tony, not Tyler, I called him Tyler in my last video, I apologize, Tony pointed out that there's like little skulls in here. He said it was unintentional. He's like, but if you look real carefully, he's like, you'll find skulls and it looks like ghosts and stuff in here. Like there's one. That's crazy. So I can't guarantee that you'll get one with skulls in it, but take a look at yours when you do. So this guy, he only made 100 of these. This is number 45. And this was unique to 2023. Looking forward to seeing what he comes out with next year. Let's take a further look at the product description. Educational lock and pins, $24.99. This educational lock and pins perfectly demonstrates how lock picking works. You can apply rotation to the lock's core and see how different driver pins bind. Each piece of this educational lock is printed in a different color, so you can easily explain each part of the lock to people who you might be teaching lock picking and Locksport too. Excuse me. The educational lock and pins come in a handy bag to carry and transport your item in. Each lock comes with the body, core, spring, 2 key pins, different sizes, 5 driver pins consisting of a standard pin, spool pin, T-pin, mushroom pin, and a serrated pin. We also include 2 master pin wafers. With the master pins, this educational lock can also be used to explain master key systems. We usually only sell items that we have designed by 3D Locksport, but when I saw this design, I knew I had to offer it to the Locksport community. So I reached out to the designer of the model I had found named Austin, Fearful Spoon, and asked for permission to offer this item to our site. I didn't know that. Huh. Wow. Okay. So, that's great. We usually sell items that we have designed. Okay, so he didn't design this. That's interesting. He was also gracious and said, yes, the credit for the original design belongs to Alexandria Trifalt. Also, all credit to the original design of this team item goes to him. Austin, Fearful Spoon, added the addition of tension handles to the core for Alexander's original design. Okay, gotcha. So the original design was designed by Alexander, and then it was further developed by Austin. Gotcha. The current model, I guess. And it says, made some modifications to the body as well as a serrated driver pin and T-pin. The only thing we customized was adding the master pin wafers. Upgraded. Now it comes with overlift upgrade. And let's talk about that. Why not? So if I take this guy here and I remove this, okay, and I'm going to put in this short key pin instead. All right. And we already have a short driver right here, and that's good. So I'm going to put that short key pin. All right. Okay. I think this may work. Yeah, that should work enough. That should work. That should be good enough. Good enough for government work. Let me pull out my covert instruments kit. So my everyday carry here should have some combs. Yeah. So comb attacks, what we do with comb attacks is we use these to overlift all the pins. So we can lift all the pins using this. And what's happening is an overlift is I'm lifting both the key pin and the driver pin above the shear line. All of the pins are going above the shear line. And this can only be done with a comb attack. However, a lot of companies are measuring the height of their pin stack, which is the height of the key pin and the driver pin, to keep you from doing that. But in some cases, which are quite a lot actually, in the cases of the American 2010, the Master 6271, the Master 150 and 160, the Abus 55 and 50, the Abus 5560, or excuse me, Abus 5550 and Abus 5560, and the Master 141 and the Master 140 can all be combed, and this teaches that. If anybody's interested in this guy, you know, it's just from covertentry.com, and you can check that out. But anyways, I digress. This thing is super awesome. I really like this. If I'm gonna be completely honest, and that's what I try to do in all my videos, this is my favorite, but I can't take this anywhere. I was just talking to somebody who has one of these, and they've been around for 10 years, and he was like, you know what, I got the same thing, just like you, but yours is in much better condition than mine. And I said, that's why. I said, the reason why yours is in worse condition is because I don't take mine to Locksport meetups. And he goes, yep, that's it. The problem is, this is $80, and it's kind of fragile, and it will crack and chip and break, and people will drag it across, you know, a table. They'll pour drinks on it, and you know, it has cracks, it is porous. So this thing will get destroyed really quick, and it was so expensive, and now they don't make anymore, so it's super rare. Even though this is my favorite, this is just much more practical to showing somebody how to pick a lock. It just is. This thing is bomb-proof. It's made of 3D plastic. It's only $25. Everything in this thing could be replaced, or you could buy another one for such a low cost. So while this thing is super cool, this is the way to go. This is done. As cool as this is only something for a very controlled environment. I took this thing to a Locksport meetup 2 years ago, 2022. Yeah, so about a year and a half ago. And it was sitting next to me very carefully in case somebody wanted to ask me how to pick a lock. And somebody walked over and they said, hey, can I borrow this? And he just grabbed it and took it over to the other side of the table. And they were just banging it around. And I was like, oh my God. So there's things that I don't take to Locksport meetups. I don't take leashy tools. I don't take comb picks. I don't take this guy. And I don't take my rat yoke custom lock picks because somebody won't appreciate the amount of money that you invest in these tools. Somebody's going to think it's just a toy and that they can beat it up. It just is what it is. That being said, this is something you can beat up all day long, and this is something I could buy for somebody. This is somebody that everybody in a Locksport meetup group should or could have for a very reasonable price. I highly recommend this product. My apologies, I don't know what's going on with my phone. It likes to just shut off for no reason and not even warn me. I'm still trying to figure out. It's the brand new iPhone. So anyways, I think this is definitely it's not the only option on the market, but it's the only option that I would ever recommend, and it's the only option that I would buy for myself. Maybe I'll keep an eye out for something better. Maybe I'm being closed-minded. Let's move to that. In the comments down below, let me know, is there something else on the market that I should be showing in this video in comparison to, or something maybe I should take a look at and invest in? I want to know. Let me know in the comments down below if you're aware of anything similar to this. I don't know anything similar to this, and I think this is really good quality. So, you know, let me know. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit subscribe. And remember, my friends, you can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but don't pick any locks that are in use or any locks you not have expressed permission to pick. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
Mr. Sandman, bring us